Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and today I'm going to show you how to add a passphrase to your Ledger Nano device to increase your security. So let's get going. All right, so I'm on the Ledger support page for advanced passphrase security. So I'll put a link to that down in the description so that you can refer to that if you want. But basically, the way that a passphrase works is that you have a ledger and it has private keys on it. And those private keys can be recovered with your 24-word recovery phrase. Now, if someone were to find your 24-word recovery phrase, then they could gain access to your wallets and all of your cryptocurrency. So what the passphrase does is it adds another layer of security to your Ledger Nano device. It allows you to create a new configuration that is only accessible when you use the Ledger in conjunction with the passphrase. So I'm going to show you how to set it up and how to manage it in Ledger Live. But one caveat, this is very advanced and has the potential to be very risky because this configuration is completely dependent on that passphrase. So if you forget this passphrase, you write it down somewhere and you lose it, then any cryptocurrency that you have stored in that passphrase configuration will be inaccessible forever. You will lose it. So please, when you do this, be very mindful, be very careful, and make sure that you put this passphrase in a safe place, whether it's in your head or on a piece of paper, locked in a safe, wherever you put it. And of course, you don't want to put it with your backup phrase, right? The whole idea here is we don't want the 24-word backup phrase to be used to gain access to your crypto, right? We want to protect our crypto so that if someone were to find that 24-word recovery phrase, they would also need the passphrase. So please keep them in separate locations if you're going to store them. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit more into how wallets are created briefly. If you want to skip ahead to the setup, that's fine. So the first thing the Ledger does when you initialize it is it generates a random number, right? It just generates a random number and then uses that random number to generate the rest of this, okay? So it does a few mathematical transformations and then it gets this larger number that is split up into sections. And then those smaller sections are used in a table to look up the words in the BIP39 English word list, all right? And that's how the mnemonic code gets generated. So this is really cool because if you lose your device, you can use that mnemonic code to recover this private key that gets generated. And then we'll look down here. Now this is the final phase. As we can see here, our 12 words can be put through this transformation to regenerate this master seed. All right? And that's really cool, the way cryptography works. So that if you lose your device, you can always regenerate that private key using your 12 or 24-word recovery phrase. Now, the only weakness to that is usually it needs to be written down somewhere and someone might find this backup phrase and use it to regenerate your wallet. So we don't want that. So there is an optional passphrase that can be used in conjunction with these mnemonic code words. And as you can see here, it's normally just the word mnemonic, right? But if we add a passphrase to this process and then it goes through this transformation, a brand new seed is generated. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to show you how to generate this brand new seed. And this is going to be, it's basically going to transform your Ledger device temporarily into a different seed phrase configuration that you can use to store cryptocurrencies on. So I know it sounds a little complicated, and it is, but I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so I've managed to get this screen the way I want it, but my head is kind of off to the side, so just follow along. Okay, so I'm at the home screen of the Ledger device, and as you can see, I have a lot of apps on there for the different cryptocurrencies that I manage in Ledger Live. So now what I want to do is I want to exit this configuration by using the passphrase function, and that will generate a brand new private key that I will have access to every time I use this passphrase. So first I'm going to do is hold both buttons until I get the upper level screen, the command screen, right? And then now I'm going to use this button to go over to settings. I'm going to hit both buttons, and then I'm going to use this button to move over to security. Then I'm going to hit both buttons again. And now I'm not going to change my PIN. I'm going to use this button to move to passphrase, right? I'll hit both buttons. All right, now I'm not going to do attach to PIN. I'm going to do set temporary today. There's two ways to do this. We'll stick with one, all right? So I'm going to hit both buttons to enter there. Now it's going to give me some a little bit of verbiage there. I'm going to advance over to set passphrase, and then it says enter secret passphrase. I'm going to hit both buttons, and now I'm ready to enter the interface. Now the interface is a little tricky because this is a small device with two buttons, right? There's no keyboard on it. So you're going to have to use this interface to enter this passphrase. So the first thing I need is that lowercase f. So you can see here I've got three choices: symbol, lowercase, or uppercase. We're going to choose lowercase, right? And then I've got to go to F. So I'll go over here to F, hit both buttons, got that F entered. Now I need to go back to the beginning of the alphabet, where I'm going to find this little interface which says re-enter your interface choices, right? I'm going to hit both buttons. Now I'm back where I can choose between the three different interfaces. So I want to choose special characters and numbers. I'm going to hit both buttons there. I'm going to advance over to 1. I'll hit both buttons again. Now I need to exit this interface and go back here to where I've got the interface choices. I'll hit both buttons. Now I can choose uppercase. I'll hit both buttons again. I'm going to go backwards in the alphabet because that would be easier to get to the R that way. There's the R. I'll hit both buttons. All right, we're going to go back and change our interface again. Here, hit both buttons. Now we're going to go back over to numbers and symbols. I'll hit both buttons. We'll go over to that 3. Hit that. Now we'll go back to change the interface again. And then we'll go to uppercase letters here. And now we're going to find the L. I don't know, either direction would probably be about the same. All right, there's that capital L. I'll hit both buttons. Now I got to go back and change the interface once again. Here, I'll hit this, both buttons. Now I'm going to go over to numbers and symbols. I'll hit both buttons. I'm going to go backwards in numbers and symbols because I happen to know that the @ symbol is towards the end there. Hit that. Now we're going to go back and change the interface once again. All right, we want that lowercase c, so let's go to lowercase. We'll go over to C. All right, and then we need that capital E. So let's go back, change the interface, uppercase. Let's go over to E, and there we go. Now we've created the entire word. So let's go over to, whoops. All right, we're going to go back to where we, now this time we're just going to hit that check, right? We'll hit both buttons here. And then it says confirm secret passphrase. We'll hit both buttons again. And then we can just eyeball this to make sure that it matches the one that we've got written down. Now, once you get the hang of this, you'll remember this one, and it'll be pretty straightforward to do it. It's a pain. The interface is a pain. I'm going to be the first to admit that. But it's when you're protecting your valuable cryptocurrency, it's something we can learn to live with, right? So I'm going to hit both buttons again. Now I need to confirm with my own PIN code that I have on this device. So I'm going to hit both buttons, then I'm going to enter my PIN code. Okay, and once I enter my PIN code successfully, it's going to process. That little processing was that final stage in the generation of the private key, right? Where it combined my passcode with my mnemonic. All right, so now I'm done, but I need to get out of this interface, so don't get confused. All you got to do is back out of everything. So I'm going to use this button to go to back. I'm going to hit both buttons. Now I need to back out of this interface. So I'm going to use one button to get down to back. I'm going to hit both buttons again. Now I need to back out of this interface. I'm going to go over to back with one button, hit both buttons, and that takes me back to the home screen, and there we go. We're ready to start our new configuration. All right, now that we've got this thing connected and we've got that passphrase entered, let's start some new accounts. All right, so let's go over to Ledger Live. All right, we'll enter our password. All right, so here we are in my Ledger Live interface. And as you can see, I already have a bunch of cryptocurrencies in here, right? But they're associated with the base configuration, the configuration without the passphrase, right? So now that we've got this new configuration, we're going to add an account that will be associated with the new configuration. So you might want to do something like this. Let's hit add account. Let's hit Bitcoin and let's hit continue. All right, now it wants me to enter the Bitcoin app, right? So let's do that. I'm on top of Bitcoin. I'm going to hit both buttons. And now I'm in the Bitcoin app. We'll continue here. Now it is scanning this device for private keys, right? And in this case, we've just created a brand new private key, so there should be no existing wallets at all. So if I were doing this with the base configuration, it would, of course, find all of the Bitcoin accounts that are already in here, but they would be dimmed, right? But in this case, like, it only finds 2 empty accounts, right? I'm going to choose a native SegWit account. If you wanted to, you could also add a SegWit account. That's the older interface. Some cryptocurrency exchanges aren't compatible with the native SegWit address format, but in my case, I know how to manage it, so I could move things around if I had. We won't get too far into that. But I'm going to take the Bitcoin name, the name of the account, and I'm going to just put PP on here, so I know it's the passphrase account. Now, we'll talk a little bit about security later on. You might even want to delete this account after you've managed it. Okay, so now you can see that I've added this new account, the Bitcoin passphrase account, and it's empty. I've got some other empty accounts here. I'm constantly moving Bitcoin in and out. But okay, so we've got a Bitcoin account over here that already exists in the base configuration. So let's look at what happens when we try to do a receive. It tells me that I've got the wrong device or passphrase connected. This account is not accessible with the device in this state, right? I've entered the passphrase, and so this device is a different configuration, right? It's no longer accessible to this account. So if we wanted to move this Bitcoin into the new account, what we're going to need to do is generate our receiving address, and then we'll disconnect this device to get it back to its base configuration. So all we need to do is disconnect this device, reconnect it, enter our PIN, and then we'll be back at the base configuration. And then we will no longer have access to this account. All right. So but before we exit this configuration, let's get an address here. All right, and then I need to verify that address on my device. All right, I'm going to advance over to the next screen, hit approve. And so there's the address. Now, because I'm going to be, I don't want to lose this address when I exit the configuration, right? So I might not want to do this transfer right away. But so let's copy it into our clipboard. And I'm just going to drop it into a text file. Just a temporary text file. All right, that doesn't look like I spelled it right, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to drop that address in there, just in case I do something to lose that in my clipboard. All right. All right, so we can close this down now. Now that I have that receiving address, I'm going to throw some Bitcoin into this configuration, right? And then I'm going to hit accounts. I'll move this Bitcoin here. Now, we could do this any way we want, right? We've got this receiving address. We could withdraw from an exchange. We could withdraw from some other type of wallet, but I'm just going to move it from one place to another within my Ledger wallet. We don't have to do it this way. We can deposit Bitcoin from anywhere else to this new address, all right? But I'm just going to do this one as a demo. So first of all, I'm going to disconnect the device. All right, now I'm going to reconnect the device and enter my PIN. Now you'll notice that when I did that, I'm still within the Bitcoin app because I was in the Bitcoin app before, right? But now I'm back at base configuration. All right, so let's say we go back over to our PP and try that receive again. See, we're going to get this error message now, right? We're no longer in the passphrase configuration. So, but I do know the address already, right? So we'll go back over here to accounts. I'm just going to take this Bitcoin and send it. And what's the Bitcoin address? That's the Bitcoin address that we got from our Passphrase account. We'll hit continue. I'm going to go ahead and send the max. I'm going to hit continue one more time. And then it gives me an overview of what I need to do here. And it wants me to enter the Bitcoin app, which I'm already in. So I'll hit continue one more time. And now the review transaction interface comes up. I need to, that's the amount of Bitcoin I'm sending. That's the address I'm sending to. Those are the fees I will incur on the Bitcoin blockchain network. And then I can accept and send. All right. And we're done. All right, we'll dismiss that. All right, we can sync up. And then this account goes to 0. And then we'll look over here. And now this native SegWit account has the Bitcoin in there. A little less than there was, but you know. Now this Bitcoin is very secure. So if someone were to gain access to my ledger and try to somehow get the access to the PIN, if they were try to send this Bitcoin out to a different address, see there, right? They, even if they grabbed my device somehow and had the PIN, they wouldn't be able to access this particular account. And if they found my backup phrase and restored it to their own computer, they wouldn't ever see this account because this account would not be generated with the base configuration. But why stop there, right? We can easily regenerate this account anytime we're in the passphrase configuration. So why even show it, right? We can just go in here and hit this gear icon and hit delete and just get rid of the account so that it doesn't even show up in my Ledger interface. And so that, and each time I enter my passphrase and get into that new configuration, I could scan for accounts and regenerate that existing Bitcoin account. So it's a good way to not only keep your Bitcoin out of reach, but people can't even see it if you take the account out of your Ledger Live. So out of sight, out of mind, right? Now, I didn't even generate other cryptocurrency apps within that new configuration, but that's possible too, right? I could have an entire set of apps and accounts associated with the passphrase configuration, right? You could do all of your accounts that way if you so choose to, right? And the way I've got it is kind of half and half, right? Or you know, I can access my base configuration or my passphrase configuration within the same copy of Ledger Live. So like I said, guys, please, if you want to do this, it's pretty advanced, but it's a great way to manage your Bitcoin and keep it out of reach. Even if someone were to tell you to enter your PIN, even if you were under duress to access these particular accounts, they wouldn't know about the passphrase account, right? There's no way anyone can know about the passphrase account, especially if you delete the account out of your Ledger Live. So it's a way of plausible deniability so that you can store the bulk of your cryptocurrencies in the passphrase protected configuration and then have small balances in the normal base configuration, which anyone else could see, right? So it's a great way to securely store your cryptocurrencies. If you guys have any questions about anything I did, please throw them up in the comments and I'll do my best to get them answered. Don't forget I have a live stream every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me for my live Q&A from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.